The skies above Hesperia Prime burned crimson when the first shells landed. The Yothari had come in shimmering war barges, their hulls etched in symbols of conquest older than most stars. They descended on the human colony world like carrion birds on a wounded beast. Hesperia had been a jewel, a temperate, ocean-rich planet, home to 10 million settlers and the Federation's largest xenocultural research hub. It was undefended, peaceful. The Yothari war prelate, Shern Kadril, stood aboard his flagship, looking down upon the chaos with thinly veiled amusement. "They spread themselves thin," he hissed to his attendants. "These humans think peace is armor. Let them learn the truth of war." Cities vanished under plasma storms. Civilian convoys were vaporized mid-flight. The Yothari hunted survivors for sport, broadcasting the executions live across the galactic net, as warning to the Terran Federation not to expand beyond their borders again. When the last transmission from Hesperia came through, it was not a plea for help. It was a mother whispering to her child, voice trembling. "Remember Earth, my love. Remember who we are." Then static. The Yothari fleet left orbit after 3 standard days, leaving nothing alive. They called it a cleansing. The mockery of Earth in the weeks that followed, the Yothari triumvirate celebrated. To them, humanity was an upstart species, brilliant, perhaps, but fragile, too dependent on treaties, commerce, and ideals of cooperation. They believed Earth's strength was paper-thin, all science and sentiment, no spine. "They will protest," one triarch sneered, "and then they will yield. They always do." A feast was held in the Hall of Chains, where relics of conquered species hung from iron spires, shackles of bone and silver, reminders of empires that had fallen beneath Yothari domination. That night, Prelate Kadrel raised a human flag above the banquet table. Burned. Torn. "This," he declared to the laughter of 1,000 lords, "is what remains of their pride. Let Earth watch as we make their colonies our own." The galaxy watched as well, silent, wary. The Terran Federation had not yet spoken. Not a single ship moved. Not a single message was sent. Weeks turned into a month. The Yothari took this silence for submission. "They fear us," whispered the courtiers. "The humans know their place." They didn't. Notice the traffic in the darker corners of the galaxy, the disappearance of scout ships, the quiet recall of civilian vessels, the faint shift in Terran trade routes. They didn't notice the silence sharpening. The stars held their breath when it came. It began without sound. The Yothari warnet went dark across 4 systems simultaneously. No warning, no distress call. Every fleet command relay, offline. Entire sectors silenced. At first, they believed it a malfunction. Then came the whispers. A convoy near the border world Karthus Ford reported finding an empty battlefield. Yothari wreckage adrift in space. Thousands of ships torn apart as though by invisible claws. There were no life signs. In the debris, they found one thing intact. A small black beacon broadcasting on an old Terran military frequency. Its message was simple. For Hesperia. The Yothari laughed nervously at first. "A coincidence," they said. "An insurgent act." Then the Mournhold vanished. A Yothari fortress world with a population of 3 billion and a garrison fleet of 50,000 ships. Sensors detected a mass energy spike, then nothing. What was once a planet became a crater of glass and iron. No empire had done that before. Not the Turek, not the Karaith. The Yothari began to realize the truth too late. Earth's silence had not been fear. It had been fury waiting to breathe. For, when Earth spoke, the first message from the Terran Federation came 3 months after Hesperia's destruction. It was not transmitted through diplomatic channels. It was broadcast directly onto the Yothari homeworld's planetary net, overriding every screen. Every comms line, every broadcast frequency, a single human appeared on screen. Fleet Admiral Maren Holt, her face half-lit by the reflection of a burning world behind her. "To the Yothari triumvirate," she began, her voice steady. "You sought to shackle humanity. You sought to make us kneel. You have taken our children, our scholars, our worlds. You will take nothing else. You wanted our chains. Instead, you will wear them." Then the feed cut to static, and the stars screamed. Terran fleets, the Retribution Vanguard, emerged from warp across Yothari space. Thousands of ships in precise formation. No fanfare, no warning. They came in silence, black-hulled and without insignia. Each vessel bore only one mark on their prow, a white band of mourning. The Vanguard moved like an executioner's blade. Yothari defense fleets scrambled. Worlds activated planetary shields, orbital guns, drone swarms. It didn't matter. The first strike came from Sol's hammer. A Terran dreadnought 3 kilometers long, its spinal railgun capable of splitting moons. It fired once. The capital shipyard of the Yothari Empire vanished. One shot. 1 second. One empire beginning to die. The fire unbound what followed was not war. It was justice with the speed of light. Human ships didn't conquer, they cleansed. Their weapons cut through shielding technology the Yothari believed invincible. Terran AIs bypassed their encrypted networks, turning planetary defense systems against their own cities. Every Yothari broadcast filled the galactic channels with panic. Pleas, screams, silence. In orbit above Kareth Prime, Admiral Holt gave a single command: no surrender, no mercy, no memory left of what they've done. From the dreadnoughts, Terran shock troops descended, the Iron Legions of Earth. Soldiers in armor of adaptive alloy, faceless and relentless. They did not speak. They did not rage. They executed. For every child lost on Hesperia, a city fell. For every colony burned, a fleet was reduced to dust. They came to the Hall of Chains, where the Yothari once displayed the relics of the conquered. Terran marines shattered it open and dragged the triumvirate from their thrones. The halls that once echoed with laughter and mockery, now filled with silence. This horror, kind that only follows complete understanding of what you've awakened. The Yothari begged for negotiation. They offered tribute, servitude, even their empire itself. Admiral Holt's reply was the same for every plea. You wanted chains, now wear them. The shackles turned the Yothari were not exterminated. Humanity had learned too well the cost of annihilation. Instead, they were bound. Entire fleets were repurposed. The Yothari were forced to rebuild what they had destroyed. Under Terran supervision, under Terran command. Their warlords became laborers, their prelates, teachers of the new generation. One that would never again raise a weapon without remembering the weight of its consequences. On the ruins of their capital, the humans built a monument of dark iron, a single chain, broken in the center, its plaque read only, for Hesperia. For the lost, for the lesson, the galaxy watched. Every empire that had once feared or mocked humanity now bowed in silence. The Terran fleets did not gloat, did not expand. They simply waited. The quiet, eternal patience of predators who no longer needed to roar to be obeyed. No one dared test Earth again. Sivan. The echo through time. Decades later, the Yothari children studied alongside human ones in the academies of the outer colonies. Their elders still flinched at the sound of thunder. A historian once asked a human veteran, one of the Iron Legion survivors, what truly happened during the Retribution campaign. The soldier only smiled faintly. You wouldn't understand, he said. They wanted to enslave us, but they never realized. You can't chain something that's been forged in its own storms. They thought we'd submit. But we're from Earth. We make gravity bow, and so, the galaxy remembered, not through conquest, but through the quiet obedience born of terror. For in every council, in every fleet, in every dark corner of space where the powerful whispered and schemed, one truth lingered. Humanity was not to be tested, not to be provoked. They had seen what happened when the fire was woken. When the patient species of poets and engineers, dreamers and diplomats, finally broke their silence. The stars themselves trembled. The price of peace. Centuries later, the monument still stood on the Yothari homeworld, untouched, unweathered. Pilgrims came to see it from every species, every corner of the galaxy. Some came in mourning, some in awe, some in fear. Every visitor left with the same feeling. That strange, human weight of justice, cold and eternal, above it all. Engraved deep into the plinth were words written in Terran Standard and translated into every known tongue. We are not your slaves. We are not your prey. We are not your property. You wanted our chains. Now you live in them. And somewhere, beyond the edge of known space, Earth watched, silent, patient, vigilant, because peace, humanity knew, was not the absence of war. It was the aftermath of vengeance fulfilled. The legacy of fire. The galaxy would come to call it the Great Reversal, the moment when conquerors became the conquered, when arrogance met the quiet precision of Terran wrath. No records remained of the original Yothari broadcast mocking humanity. The Federation erased them, not out of censorship, but out of mercy. Yet some said that if you tuned the long-wave frequencies on a dead world, you could still hear a faint echo, a burning world, a mother's whisper, and the silence that followed. In that silence, the lesson endured, one the galaxy would never again forget. The invaders wanted our chains, but became shackled themselves. And thus, the age of human vengeance passed into legend, not of heroes or monsters, but of a species that refused to be broken.